Y'all hear that in your ear? You know what that means?
It's time.
They about to sing a line just about us. Listen up, folks. Oh, wait. A little early on the cue. It's the Fish Life Podcast, everybody. We got the man, dude.
We do have a man.
Dave Mercer. This is about him, too. Yep, yeah, he probably has. I think he has, from what I know of him. We got Dave Mercer coming on live. The voice of the Bassmasters is coming on live with us. He's going to give us the behind-the-scenes Untold story of the Bassmaster Classic tournament from this year. You're not going to see this anywhere. This is exclusive.
Exclusivity.
This is exclusive content to the Fish Life Podcast, which is the lowest budget, actually live podcast out there.
That's right.
Which makes us the L-ball and makes you guys the low ballers. So, if you're a low baller, hit them thumbs up. Drop us a comment. I got my boy Chris over to the right. I'm not letting him say anything tonight. Poet and didn't know it.
We're never going to stop, never stopping.
And while you're at it, if you care, go ahead and share. We do need shares, so please do share this post. As you can tell, pretty rough around here.
We need it.
We need all the help we can get, right? That's what they say.
But as y'all know, my t-shirt game's strong.
T-shirt. Oh, my man does come with the t-shirts.
I come with the fire.
He comes with the t-shirt fire. Whiskey Myers, love you, man, but
Sign off.
y'all got to go away. Welcome back, guys, man. It's been a week.
It's been a week.
Just like it always has been when we. Yeah. It's always a week in between these. Fumbling over my words. We kind of had some technical difficulties to get this thing rolling tonight, so I apologize for that. Well, you guys didn't know I was late. We're normally about this time anyway.
That's right.
I was trying to be right at 6 for Dave. Dave is probably wondering where the hell I am, so we're going to get in that quick. So we're going to keep the Billy Ray's Redneck Science real short and sweet this week because we like to start off with a little nugget about what's going on in the fishing around our area here. And this week's nugget is wait. Just wait. Wait till Friday, boys. Like you guys have, or like normally y'all upset because we get to fish during the week and then you guys got to go to work all week. Y'all win this week. Because come Friday and then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, oh my God. It's about like we got a full moon coming at the end of the week. We got warmer weather coming at the end. Like it's lined up for everything to just go at the end of this week.
These are going to come in real handy.
Yeah, boy. Go get you some Waterlands. And when you do, use the discount code, your Lake Fork Guide. You'll save 10% at waterlandco.com or sixcentfishing.com. You can get anything there. Mm-hmm. Same code, same 10% discount. Pretty good deal. That's all for Redneck Science. We got one more week. I'm telling y'all, it's going to go off. Like as good as it'll go off all year is going to start next Friday.
Going to be banana sandwich.
And that next few days is just going to be the best days of the year for spawning fish, for shallow fishing. Mm-hmm. So, which is what everybody loves to do in the springtime. That's why everybody fishes that time of year. So, that being said, no further ado, we got to talk about the Bassmaster Classic with the dude who was there behind the scenes and has been there for a long time and knows everybody. Let's get my guy, Dave Mercer. Does he have a nickname?
I was just thinking.
He gives everybody else his nickname. Start thinking right now. Come up with a good Mercer nickname because, what else are you here for?
Jamie.
Yes, this is the fish. This is the bass fishing Jamie right here to my right, folks. Still can't get no views on this podcast, even though I got Jamie.
Speak to a customer service representative. Please hang up.
Is Canada not accepting calls?
Uh-oh. We may have a problem. Why don't you call him on your... Maybe it's my phone. I hope it's not my phone.
Try it again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's try it on your phone. Here's his number.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of live programming, folks. You're getting to see some issues. I don't know why it won't call out. Did you not pay my phone bill, Jamie? Or did I not pay my phone bill? I don't know what happened, but my phone's cut off. Hopefully he'll answer. He may not answer that, dude, if he don't know your number.
He's got my number.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Mercer, can you hear us?
What kind of cheap cell phone you got?
Dude, bro, my phone, I don't know if, I didn't pay the bill. I don't know. This is live programming. What can I do? I literally don't know what happened right there. But I tried to call you and it told me no.
Did you hang up on him?
Did I hang up on him?
I think you did. I think you hit the wrong button.
No, I just hung up on him. This is embarrassing.
You hit that button.
All you can do is laugh. This is...
There it is.
Living up to our reputation.
How about we try this again?
Dude, I'm about as embarrassed as I've ever been, and I'm doing it live on YouTube for everybody to watch. I literally.
Did you run out of minutes on your phone?
I don't know what happened with my phone. It said we can't complete your call as dialed. Chris calls you right up. I'm not probably. I probably didn't pay my bill on time or something. You know, listen, I'm prone to these type of deals. It's hard. It's a hard life for a fishing guy, Dave.
I hear you. What's up?
How you turn? You got volume on this, Chris?
Volume's up. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
All right, man.
You want me to yell?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. You guys in the chat, let me know if y'all having any issue hearing Dave at all. We'll try to make sure we've got him close to the receiving phone with the talking phone. Dave, listen. I kind of enjoy being like we spend no money. like I kind of enjoy. Listen, guys, we're simple. We don't care about all the fluff. We just want to get you the information and the content.
Yeah.
But I'm being honest. Right now, at this moment, I'm kind of thinking that maybe it's time to make some adjustments.
What? The speakerphone's not working? Like you're trying to catch somebody telling a lie? Like, what's up?
No, man.
It's fine to me.
Well, good. I guess we're all good then. If Dave Mercer approves, we're definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this really started off bad.
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. So
Yeah.
let's.
Well, I've been busy. I was sitting here watching. You know, I got a buddy who changes his Facebook profile all the time, and it makes me wonder why. Like, I've never changed my Facebook profile. You don't get any better looking.
Right.
Why are people changing their Facebook profile so much? I don't trust those people.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Somehow I don't think that's all Dave Mercer has to say about it. Because this is the guy that talks for a living. Like, you're the voice of Bassmaster to many people. I mean, you're on the live coverage a lot, just like Zona is. And I guess Zona and Tommy would also kind of be the voice, and Davey kind of the voice of Bassmaster as well. But man, you're the guy that's always there at the culminating moment, dude. Like, you're the dude that puts all the cool slogans that everybody, KVD slams the door, you know, all those type of things that you've done over the years.
Wow, I must have done a lot. You picked the first one I ever did.
Was that the first one?
It's been 12 years, and that's the first one I did, and that's what you picked.
I don't know why that one.
To do that one.
I don't know why that one sticks in my head more than any. Listen, I'm a little bit out of wits right now because of everything that's going on. I'm kind of like, I'm smiling, but I'm freaking out on the inside a little bit because of how this is started.
Calm down and breathe. Let's relax.
Okay,
Have a
Usa.
nice show together, okay?
I'll rub my
No
earlobes
need
a
to get
little
wound up.
bit. But anyways, I just, there's a lot of people that watch Bassmaster and they remember the things that you say. Like, it puts do you have the coolest job in fishing? Because that's kind of my thing. Is I think you might have the funnest job or the neatest job, most interesting job in fishing, because you get the vantage point of watching all these guys, hanging out with all these guys. You get to go fishing without the pressure of having to win the tournament, but you're still part of the whole thing. So is your job the best job in fishing?
I think so. For me, it is. I mean, I love my job. I love every minute of it. And like I've always said, I wouldn't switch with Jason Christie today to be the Bassmaster Classic champion.
Wow.
I love the job that I do. Like I think everybody's got a spot in life, and if you're really lucky, you find it. And when you do, don't be an idiot. Don't screw up and go try to do other things. Just keep yelling stupid crap into a microphone because somehow you figured out a way to get them to pay you to do it. So I've never been a fan of those people. Like people like Jim Carrey and stuff like that. They're making $20 million a movie, and then they want to become a serious actor. Screw that. Just yell dumb stuff into a microphone until they won't pay you to do it anymore.
What comes to mind is when Deion Sanders made a rap album. Like, just keep picking the ball off, dude. Stop.
Deion. I really think his rap album would be. I think it'll get better with time. I think
history will be the judge.
Like Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy did a rap album, didn't he? Or wasn't it like a
Bro, listen.
happy?
I'm not the smartest guy about rap music. I definitely I like rap music. I really do. The only thing wrong with rap music, they left the C off the front of it, Dave.
Oh, I see what you did there. Wow. We got both kinds of music here, country and western.
I was a fan of the Beverly Hills Cop, though.
Yeah, two kinds of music. Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh, hell yeah. Which one? 2, 3, or 17?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Exactly. It's like the Star Wars has gotten so out of control now with all the kickoffs and spin-offs, and Disney took over Star Wars, and I don't recognize anything about it anymore.
That just goes to show you that TV and movies, they're trying to reinvent the wheel because Lethal Weapon knew when to stop, Beverly Hills Cop knew when to stop, and they were all great.
Yeah. How did we get on this topic?
They'll be back.
So,
They'll be back.
so Bassmaster Classic. I don't know how we
Yeah,
got
that was a
to.
big deal.
I don't know how we got to Star Wars and Lethal Weapon to want to talk about the classic with the voice behind the mythology that is the classic. But
We had to relax you, Billy.
was this your favorite classic because of how it finished?
Yeah, definitely one of them. I think it's so hard to judge them, to be honest, because, obviously this is my favorite because I'm still kind of on a high from
Right.
it. It was a cool event. It was, maybe this was my favorite. It's hard to pick, like when I said it's one of them, I'm trying to think of one that I thought was more. It was just perfect to me. Like so many cool things happened, and outside of just Christie winning, I think the whole it was a huge week for Kyle Welcher. It was a huge week for a lot of people involved in that classic. You know what I mean? Outside of the person that won it, but I just think the perfect person won it, and it just built one of the things that I tell guys when they don't win, and I've told Jason this. I honestly believe all those crushing moments, as tough as they are to watch and probably even tougher to feel, obviously, they're building towards something. And that's Jason Christie's a prime example. Pretty much everyone in that arena wanted him to win just because they've seen him get taken from him several times. So,
Right.
I mean, obviously Kyle Welcher's family probably and Stetson's family, maybe they were a little biased, but you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's the getting kicked in the nuts is what makes the victory so special. The fact that he has literally let it go into the final day twice with big leads and lost it. And I feel like watching the coverage, you kind of saw him go through moments like that where those demons were in his head,
No doubt.
And he literally conquered the classic. That's, like when I said that, I didn't think about that beforehand, but I mean, to me, that perfectly describes what happened. He didn't just beat this classic, he conquered all the demons in his head and everything, and which will make Jason Christie a very, very scary dude to deal with when you think of the fact that he doesn't have to worry about next year's classic. He knows he's in it, and we got a lot of great fisheries coming that Christie with the safety off could be a scary, scary guy to deal with this whole season.
I mean, you just look at next year's classic up there in Knoxville, I believe, the river deal.
Yeah.
Dirty water river fishery. Hello, that's like what he started at. Like he grew up on muddy water river systems in Oklahoma. Like that's his deal. If anything's his deal in cold water too. Like maybe we get another back-to-back. I mean, you never know with the classic, but I mean, yes, you're right. He is scary. Now, I'll tell you what was cool to me to watch that. And you said you could tell at times that you felt like you could tell at times that it certainly felt as a viewer, you were like, oh man, it's the same deal. Is he thinking about that? That's got to be affecting him or whatever. And it did, and he changed the way he fished at times, and I think that was part of that. But he kept his calm, like his demeanor and his attitude.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think that's what conquered it for him, was he was able to control his mental faculties and didn't let that, like when those things would creep up, he wouldn't let it run away with him. He wouldn't let that take over, and he would get back under control. And mentally, he was just, dude, he was just seemed like he had it going, like he had it dialed in and wasn't going to let any of that get to him.
Yeah, and I feel like he that vibe, and it's easy to say that in retrospect, but I do feel like that vibe was around him all week. And not just him, there were several anglers that stood out to me like as anglers who came there with a purpose, like almost, like the time away has not just made them better. Not only have they gotten better in that time, but they've also realized how rare of an opportunity the Classic is. And they've also, you know what I mean, had time to kind of marinate on what goes on. Like the Bassmaster Classic, the toughest thing to beat is the mental side of it. I mean, that's why it's so tough. I mean, on paper, it should be easier because it's 3 days, you know, but it's not. It's harder because every single day, it ratchets up and gets tougher. And Christie has succeeded in every single stage the whole way up, except for the last one until last weekend. And I think he knows, like, none of that matters. Like, it doesn't, none of the hoopla that goes around you on day 2 or going into the final day, none of that matters. If you don't win the trophy at the end of the day, you are the dude that is walking off the stage awkwardly and you're crushed. And I think Christie, you know, and that's what I felt like to me when the weight did jump and he did show up on the scale and he did the fist pump and then he went off to the side of the scale and side of the stage and he had his hands on his knees. And to me, that was just like, man, finally, this is all this weight and this pressure that has been on my shoulders, and it really has with him. And I think even more so than he let on going into the Classic, you know, even with things he said post-Classic, just how much pressure he was under to,
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, dude, he led 4 of 6 Classic days. He went into the final day once with a 6-pound lead, once with a 5-pound lead. That's crushing to lose that.
Yes.
I mean, the Edwin one, I think he got beat in that one. You know, somebody in a monster bag and you got beat. But to be that close as a competitor, I mean, it's crushing. And so it was really, to me, it was really cool. And that was the coolest part of the story. And you saw all these other anglers kind of threatened, but it was Christie's from day one. You know what I mean? Like, he really came into it. It's rare in fishing that you see a favorite come in, look in the camera and say, yeah, I'm going to try to win this and do all I can, and he pulls through, and he dominated the Classic when it was all said and done.
I tell you, it's been so with the split with the 2 series and everything that happened when, you know, a lot of the guys left Bassmaster and went Bass Pro Tour, and then we had some guys come back. To me, it's been some of the most revealing viewing, or just, you know, following. You know, as you follow it, it's one of the most revealing things to find out exactly how much better these guys are than everybody else on earth. Because if you think about what happened with Scott Martin and Jason Christie and Greg Hackney and Jacob Porosnik, buddy, you don't just go through the opens. Like, good guys, like really good anglers, don't go through the opens. And these guys do it first time. I think Porosnik took 2 tries, but like Christie and them, they did it the first try. And then Christie's first Bassmaster Classic back with y'all, he locks in and he's there and he's in contention again and he ends up pulling it out. Like, when these guys make up their mind and zero in and lock in on it, like, you're not gonna beat them. They're just they get this mental confidence and they get to a place in their mind where they just are convinced that they're not going to lose, and they're often right. And that's so hard to do in fishing. Like, fishing's such a weird sport where it's a lot like hitting a baseball. The best in the world, the very best of all time, do it right about 3 out of 10 times. But these guys almost, it seems like on command, have willed their way back into these positions. It's just been so impressive and really eye-opening. I know the split sucked and it caused a lot of division, and we ain't got to talk about all that. But there's been some very cool things to follow out of that, and to me, that may be the coolest, is watching those guys almost on command do what they've done.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think what they've done is incredible. I mean, I think what Iaconelli did is even more incredible. I mean, he fished 3 events and qualified.
That is,
you know what
wow.
I mean? He didn't even fish all 9.
Right.
You try to make it through different. As far as I know, he fished 3 and made it back. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I also think that you're looking at people that had a very rare opportunity in life to see something they worked for their whole life. Like, I mean, every single one of them, this was their dream. And whether they decide to stay or leave, they were all stepping away from their dream. And these guys haven't, you know, they've got a second shot at it. You know what I mean? Like, and not through anything other than their hard work to qualify to be back here. But it's almost like, you're re-engaged. You see that with a lot of people, like when you first start making classics and stuff like that, I think it's real easy to be like, I'll be in these forever. And then all of a sudden, one day you're like, wait a second, there's a classic, and all this went on, and I didn't. And then all of a sudden you're like, I need to get back there. And when you do, you're like, you use all that momentum and that feeling that you've had all the time when you were away from it. You know what I mean? Like, it just really does feel that with all of those guys when they come back. They're like, I went over to the grass is always greener on the other side, and it's not. I'm back, but now I'm back, and I'm re-engaged almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because really that's the biggest thing that I hear from people when they come back, and it's plain and simple. I just want to fish. I didn't get in this to run a league. I didn't get in this to reinvent the sport. I just want to fish. I just want to have a tournament meeting. I want to know what the boundaries are, and I want to compete against the best anglers available. And that's one of the things that a big advantage of bass when these guys come back. So, and I think it's natural. Like, I don't think guys coming back is a slight on anything that MLF is doing. I think it's natural. There's certain people that are meant to do stuff. That certain ways of doing things fit certain people. You can't expect everybody just to be different. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's different. There's certain people that the 5-fish approach is working better, and they're going to want to get back there. It's just, I hate that it's such a tough road for as many that it is. Like, there's a ton of guys I know that would love to come back, but it's hell to get back. When you look at it, 3 people from each division, go do that. If you think it's so easy,
I use this for reference all the time, and I don't do it by any means to insult the man, because he's kind of beyond insulting at this point. But I do it because everybody around here in our region is well aware of him and how good he was before he ever showed up on the national tournament scene. But Lee Livesey has won 2 events, has competed for Angler of the Year at times, in his first few years out there. He never qualified through the Opens. He got really close a couple times before all that, but he never made it through the Opens. And as good as he is, a 2-time Elite Series champion, a top 5 Angler of the Year guy, he's one of the better ones out there. And he couldn't get through the Opens. Like, I just used, because if he's that good on the Elite Series and he couldn't get through the Opens, how many guys are stuck in there that are not getting through, that are great anglers?
And I really do think that the split, in retrospect, I mean, as painful as it is for a lot of people still today, and I hate not working with some of my best friends over there. Right. But it did exactly what they said it would do. You know what I mean? It made more opportunities for anglers. Yep. It grew opportunities. It grew the sport in certain ways, but it just wasn't the same people they thought it would be. I mean, if you look at all of the names that are now mainstream names in the sport of fishing, it's shocking just how many new names. Like, you know what I mean? Go read a magazine from 5 years ago, and then pick up any magazine today.
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about a Bassmaster magazine. I'm talking about any fishing magazine. If you look at the pro content, the content from pros in those magazines, it's amazing the difference in names.
Absolutely, it's been wonderful. It's been, like you said, it's painful in the beginning, but it's been wonderful overall, and it did expand the sport and really put more eyeballs on it, which is good for all of us in the end. Moving on a little bit, Kyle Welch, I heard you mention him, lost by 4 ounces. Was this, by the way, real quick question, was this the closest weight in a Bassmaster Classic? Do you know?
No, I don't think it was the closest, but it's definitely the closest in recent history.
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to think of...
4 ounces, for those that don't know, it was 4 ounces was the difference between first and second.
Yeah, no, it was incredibly close. It was incredibly close. And it was... That's what made it so special as well, I think. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I hate Bass Track and some of the things that it does do, In this situation, it was awesome because you had 3 anglers pulling into an arena, and literally all 3 of them thought I could be the Bassmaster Classic champion in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the magic to me. I mean, it was crushing for Welcher to go down, but again, man, you can't look and say, well, Jason Christie didn't deserve it.
Right.
You know, he
well,
had the same thing happen.
Out of those 3 guys, I would say that you know, obviously Welcher's young in his career, but out of those 3 guys, you know, you look at Welcher, he's probably going to have the most opportunities left in his gun if he keeps going on the track he's staying on right now. He's going to have more opportunities than those other 2 guys just on age alone. I think he's just going to be around longer. And Stetson's been around, it seems like forever now. It seems like we've been watching Stetson play like fish forever, but he's really not that old either. But Jason Christie certainly, I think, was everybody. The general consensus for everybody's favorite before, the one that people wanted to see win was Jason Christie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Christie was a favorite, but again, because of what people have seen happen with him, that's why everybody wants to see him do that. And that's the cool thing about the Classic. You know what I mean? Like when somebody wins, it's not just that moment. It's not just those 3 days of competition. It's all the history that comes with it. You know what I mean? And it's all of the near misses and everything that fuel people. Like if you look at Christie, I mean, Christie literally fishes the elites just to get to the Classic. And the first thing he said the next day after winning one is like, man, I want another one now. And that's exactly that's the cool thing, that the Classic has that impact on competitors, on fans, on even exhibitors and stuff like that. And if you really think about it, if you watch the Classic on TV your whole life, you'll have great coverage and it's cool to watch and everything. But if you go to one Classic, the one thing you hear from everybody is, I don't want to miss another one. Mm-hmm. And that is literally what the Classic does to you, whether you're a competitor, a spectator, or you're actually working there. I mean, you go to one Classic and you don't want to miss another one. And it has the same impact on people when they win it. You know, people think if I get one Classic title, I'll be satisfied. But when you get one, you're like, I want more of that.
You know, the things I'm thinking of to compare that to, we just can't do on a live YouTube channel right now. You know, so we're just going to leave that alone and not go there. Like, once you've seen one, you kind of want to see the rest of them. But anyways, do you think, so I wanted to bring this up about Kyle Welcher. I don't think, and I know he's got a YouTube channel, so he's got a lot of people that are paying attention to him, but like the traditional tournament fishing fan, I don't think realizes and appreciates how good this guy is for how early he is in his career. Like he's special.
And I've said that since day one, literally. I mean, from the first day I met him, I've said, this guy is different, the way he looks at things, and I've been routinely impressed over and over again. Just how incredible he is, the way he thinks. I mean, wins are wins. You can't guarantee anyone will, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to... Dan Marino almost won the first Super Bowl he went to, and he never got a ring. You know what I mean? After that Super Bowl, everybody was like, well, he's going to, how many is he going to win? It doesn't matter. I mean, and I do believe that Kyle Welcher is going to win a lot. Like, I think that he has, and nothing that he did at the Classic made me believe it more. I mean, that's who he is. You know what I mean? He doesn't think like a regular person. The way he dissects a question is amazing, know, because you realize all the little points, the minute points that he thinks of, and the way that he thinks of literally one spot, and that's winning, is so rare. Like, you don't see that with a lot of young pros because they're so concerned with, I need to get 50th place. But from day one when I've met him, he is, he always wants to win, and his confidence level is really incredible. I mean, he when you're talking to him, you think you're talking to somebody who is a lot later on in their career. You know what I mean? Like, and I know this is strong praise, but when you're talking to him, you think you're talking to Aaron. You think you're talking to Kevin. Like, the way he answers some questions, you think you're talking to Wheeler. It's very, very similar. He's honestly going to be a superstar in the future.
Yeah, I think so.
As long as he continues to do the work that he has done. And I don't think that he's also one of those people that there's no doubt that will continue. You know what I mean? That's what he wants to do. And that's probably why you say that the average bass fishing fan doesn't realize how big a deal he is. It's because he hasn't been out there. You know, he makes his YouTube videos and he's got a great following for that, but he isn't a fan-friendly guy. And I don't mean that in a negative, but you know what I mean? Like, he's not chasing down likes that way. He's literally all substance. And he will get plenty of followers as it goes along. But
he's not
cult following. He just doesn't have that. I agree with you, like the mainstream people. But I think that this classic went a long way.
Yeah, it was kind of his hello world moment a little bit in that way, I think.
What's that?
I said I think it was kind of his hello world moment a little bit at this classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know what he thinks of it. I know his family likes it or whatever, but I started calling him Stone Cold Kyle Welcher, and I literally thought of that 2 years ago when I met him. But I was like, you can't say that about him at any point unless there's the right place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully that is something that he likes. He might hate it. I might find out at Santee he hates it. You might never hear me say it again. Or probably I will just say it to bother him. But he is freaking Stone Cold Kyle Welcher. I don't care what you say.
He is Stone Cold. There's no doubt. Dude, you're the master of the nicknames. I mean, you're that guy. You're the best nickname giver in the history of fishing, I think, is hands down at this point. How many times have you given a guy a nickname and the guy goes, dude, I hate it. Like, don't do that. I don't like it. How many times has that happened?
Really, not much.
Okay.
One guy stands out, and I still bug him today because I'm like, if you'd have stuck with that dude, I'm telling you, it would have been a thing. And it sounds strange, but when Drew Cook first came about, I used to call him Drew the Tooth Cook, right? And the reason I called him that is when he was trying to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series, he knocked his friggin', broke it off at the root. His tooth got hit with an ounce and a half tungsten weight while he was free fishing. So he couldn't get anything done with it, dude. So anybody that's ever had their, exposed root on your tooth, you know how much pain that is. So he had to fish the tournament, though, and get a good finish so he qualified for the Elite Series. So he stays there. He fishes the whole tournament in the blasting wind and everything. You can imagine the cold wind hitting your teeth and stuff. Fished the whole tournament, qualified for the Elite Series. There's pictures of him minus his tooth. And so now he has the tooth and everything, but he's got a story to go with the tooth. I'm not telling him to take his tooth out, but it's just something for people to gravitate to. But he did not like it, and I've made fun of him ever since. So when the moment comes, I'll make somebody else a tooth just to teach him a damn lesson.
There you go. That's great. I mean, listen, you're so good at nicknames. I'm nowhere near the Elite Series, and you even gave me a nickname that has kind of stuck. People still call me that in comments, and that's Lawless, Billy Lawless instead of Lawson. And I still get those comments every week. So I appreciate it, Dave. Thanks for the nickname, bro.
Oh, no problem. And I think I get way too much credit. I mean, there's been lots of zoners come up with lots of different nicknames and different things. You know what I mean? Lots of different things come from different places. But I also think I've also been, the honest truth, half the reason I would give people nicknames in the past is it was just a way for me to remember them. I'm an idiot. You know what I mean? And it's way easier to remember Billy Lawless. And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, and that's why I don't know. But some of them work and some of them don't. And the weirdest thing is people do show up in the Elite Series and they're like 2 tournaments in. They're like, okay, where's my nickname? And some people just don't ever get a nickname. I don't think Jason Christie ever needs a nickname. You know what I mean? He is friggin' Clint Eastwood. He's our Clint Eastwood. You know what I mean? Clint Eastwood never had a nickname. He played characters. I get that, but there was never a nickname for him because he's freaking Clint Eastwood.
That's right. Yeah, you can't force a nickname. That's not how it works.
No.
Chuck Norris ain't got a
You
nickname.
can't. I mean, I know Zona gave someone a nickname once, and I'm not even going to give you the nickname. I can't tell this story because it's no good if I don't give you the nickname, and it's his story. I don't want to tell it. I can get myself in trouble, but I'm a good friend, so I don't want to get him in trouble.
I'm not going to push you, but just know I'm not really happy about this. Because now I want to know the story.
I don't really care.
Okay.
To be honest, it's Sunday night.
Okay.
You're interrupting my dinner plans. I mean, I'm going to get over it.
Okay. I guess we'll both get over it. We'll just move on and be fine. And yeah, it'll be good. By the way, before we go any further, I should have done this a little earlier. I apologize, Dave. Guys, if y'all are watching this live or even after, in the live coverage, the link won't be in there yet. But after this post, the link will be in there. Do go follow Mercer. Is the channel just called Mercer? Or that's the show. What's the YouTube channel called, Dave?
Dave Mercer. It's called Dave Mercer.
Just Dave Mercer.
Creative I am, I think it's, if you search Facts of Fishing or Dave Mercer, it will come up.
Facts of Fishing or Dave Mercer will come up. We'll link it in the description once we post after the live. You guys be sure to go follow that. Go follow Dave Mercer on every platform because my dude is pretty dang funny and he gets the inside goods. Speaking of inside goods, we got some behind the scenes. Is there anything that was unseen by the public that you can share with us about this Bassmaster Classic?
Well, there was a lot to see. I'm just trying to, that's like the worst setup. You're bad at this. Come on. You're supposed to give me more to work on than that. Let me think of something behind the scenes.
What was the most, I don't know. You're right. I'm bad at this. What
was the most surprising event that the cameras didn't catch at the Classic?
There you go.
What was it? Sorry, go again.
I said, what was the most surprising event that the cameras didn't catch at the Classic?
Well, I was going to say one of the coolest things that happened, and I didn't think the cameras caught it, but there is like a little Instagram video that floated around, and I had Jake Latondras, who is the camera guy for Bass, and he was Christie's camera person, but he was also Christie's camera person in 2018 when he lost. So they kind of had this connection, and lo and behold, they get paired together for all 3 days, which was really cool. But one of the cool things in my job that nobody really gets to see, because it's kind of like my job's over, but somebody wins the Classic and they get to do that victory lap around the arena. Well, for me, it's always kind of a fun time because it's one of the few times you get to just stand up there. I have no responsibilities, you know what I mean, other than just thanking everybody as the boat makes its way around. But I really get to watch, and I watch how the champion interacts with different sponsors and people, from the industry and friends and family, and you get to see that first embrace. And one of the coolest things was as he came back around, Jake, his camera person, was there, and Christy, Christy, like I said, he is Clint Eastwood. You know what I mean? He doesn't show a lot of emotion. Like what you saw on that stage was a ton of emotion from Jason Christie. Right. But Jake's waiting to give him a high five, and Christie puts the trophy down and grabbed Jake, and it was like one of the coolest hugs. It was just, you showed how much that bond between those two people, and I think that's one of the things that happens at Bassmaster events that nobody really thinks about. But like the camera people and the anglers, they're connected. They become a team, you know what I mean? And they kind of feel that loss when they lose together. And it was cool to see just that connection between both of them in the arena. And it was a moment that very few people got to see. And here's another cool thing. See, once I think of one thing, I got lost.
Let's go.
Another really cool thing. You guys probably know, if you've ever listened to any of my podcasts or anything like that, Bob Cobb is very special to all of us in bass fishing. But I mean, Bob is somebody very, very special to me. So I'm standing there with Bob Cobb that evening after the Classic's done, and we're in the lobby, and Christy comes in, and we've got to go to the toast, the champion's toast, where they introduce him to the, everybody in the industry, and he gets his check, and it's all a big deal. So Bob Cobb's there, and I introduce him to Jason Christie, and they've never met before.
Oh, wow.
But I'm introducing Bob Cobb to, the Bassmaster Classic champion, and the Bassmaster Classic champion's like, wow, that is freaking Bob Cobb. And so it was really cool. And somehow we got talking, and Jason Christie got introduced at the Night of Champions by Bob Cobb, which was really, really cool. So it was cool for me to be able to facilitate that with Bob. But it was also cool to walk in that room with Bob and watch how anglers reacted. You know what I mean? Like, there's some young anglers that you were like, they don't even know who this dude is. And then there was people like Austin Felix that were just like, oh my, that's Bob Cobb. That is really Bob Cobb. So it was a pretty cool moment that very few people saw at the Classic.
So there was guys that actually didn't know who Bob Cobb was?
Well, no, I'm assuming. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, just from their reaction, there were certain people that when Bob Cobb walked, like I think if I walked around and said, "Do you know who Bob Cobb is?" I'm sure some of them don't know. I mean, they're anglers. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody is as entrenched and as enriched in the sport as we all are.
Right.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, some of the best people at one individual skill on earth, and it's not just fishing, but quite often you'll find with a lot of those people that they're not as connected in the history and the hoopla, because they're focused on just simply being good at that. And to be as good as they are, there's a lot of them that don't have that connection with history. You know what I mean? But I mean, somebody like Christy definitely does, and it was pretty cool to see the entire room, like when Bob got on the mic, just to see the entire room got quiet. It was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That is really – there's so much that does go on. So my first Classic getting to attend was last year, which you helped me out with greatly, and I'm still in debt to you for that. I appreciate it very much. But I had no idea. Always watch, like you said earlier, always watching it on TV versus when I went in person, I was clueless as to what all goes on there. And there is so much that happens in that tunnel underneath that stadium that's just extremely cool moments, and of course this was the dinner, the toast, whatever you're talking about with Bob Cobb, and that's another awesome thing. But there's so many little interactions and guys over there to the side swapping stories while they're waiting for their boat to go through the stadium, and there's so much that goes on at the Classic in just the way of being in that atmosphere with hundreds of thousands of people at times, that, certainly tens of thousands of people at times, that love the sport the way that we all love it. And then also mixed in, oh yeah, the best fishermen on planet Earth are just roaming around at times, and you just talk to them and say hi, they talk with you. They're not, that's the coolest part about professional fishermen that are the best, is they're not like football players and baseball players. I mean, everybody's trying to get a piece of them a little bit, but it's not as bad. And they're just more down-to-earth people. And they love fishing just like we all love fishing. And they'll sit there and talk to you about it, like, a lot. Like, don't be shy to go up and talk to these guys, because they will talk to you.
But I think that there's a reason for that. And I've literally spent a lot of time, like, wondering, because you hear that over and over again about, like, how our pros here are different and this and that. You wonder, like, is that just something they say? You know what I mean? Because every industry may be out there saying that amongst themselves, that their pros are different. But I really do think fishing pros are different. But I think the major reason is because, hey, if you're good at baseball, if you're good at football, by the time you're 12, 13 years old, there's so many people around you that are turning it into a business. Mm-hmm. And it becomes a business. But literally, everybody who fishes for a living, that's literally their dream. Those are what I just said. I mean, if you talk to all of them, they want to win the Classic, and they want to achieve different things. Maybe they're a trophy hunter and they want to catch the next world record. Those are all things. But ultimately, the dream, I just want to fish for a living. And it wasn't to get rich. And some people have gotten very rich from fishing. But the dream was never, clouded by money. It was just people that love to fish. And I think when we all get together, that's the one thing where people feel that bond. And that's the cool thing about the Classic. Like, for me, the very first Classic I ever went to was the worst Classic in history, Soldier Field in 2000. And I still felt that, like, in retrospect, I'm amazed. I went to another one because it was like, it was horrible. Like, there was nobody in, like, it doesn't matter. Soldier Field holds 100,000 people. You can't put a Bassmaster Classic in there and expect it to be good. But it was really bad, but I still felt that magic and that connection. And anytime you go to a Classic, still today, even though I work for Bass, I feel that when you walk in the arena, you're like, wow, it's not what you're feeling that moment. It's the memories that you have being a little kid sitting on your knees, looking up at a TV and listening to Bob Cobb. A race got announced away. That's what makes it so special, if you ask me.
That's my favorite, dude. I every weekend morning, getting up early, making sure I was ready to watch the Bassmaster, and hearing that old theme song, and just like on your podcast, this is Bob Cobb with the Bassmaster, dude. I can hear that right now, like I'm 7 years old, sitting in my living room in front of Dad's recliner. You know, like it's special. I mean, it's special to us. It's nostalgic. It's special. Most of us start fishing with our fathers, so there's a lot of nostalgia to that aspect of it as well. I mean, it's just this sport is so unique and so different than anything else. I know I've heard you mention this before on your show. It's an open playing field. Like, these guys are out there playing at the highest level, and Jimmy Jack from down the road in the Saturday morning derby might roll up right next to him and start throwing at the same brush pile. Like, it's an open playing field to the public. It's the integrity and the etiquette that goes on. And I know sometimes fans don't always get it right, but for the most part, the etiquette of the fans that are out there on the water watching these guys, they could totally screw those guys up. And most of the time they don't. And the only thing that keeps that happening is respect for the sport, love for the sport, and etiquette. It just, the people involved in this sport, yes, we have our issues and we have our arguments and we have our petty differences about fishing and all that. But overall, the people involved in this sport are just the greatest people on earth. They're family, hardworking, God-fearing people, man. And it's just an amazing sport to be a part of. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. That's what. But that we're the lucky ones. You know what I mean? I always say that. I'm like, we are the lucky ones. We got introduced to fishing.
No doubt.
We got brought out, and we all know that fishing is so much more than setting a hook and holding up a big fish. There's everything you feel, and it's what you connect with. So we're lucky that we got introduced to it, and that's what I always tell people, that be thankful, because there's a lot of people who, I mean, they were never introduced to it, and if they're lucky through something, through college fishing, through high school fishing, through just having people introduce them to the sport of fishing, hopefully they find somewhere in their life that they feel like that, because most people don't. Let's be honest. Most people work a job, and their release is to drink a case of beer on the weekend and do whatever. And not that I don't drink a case of beer on the odd weekend.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky to have that connection to nature. And I think we all are. Everybody, if anybody that's listening to this, I mean, if you're willing to listen to this crap, clearly you are you are addicted to this fine sport of fishing, so much so that you have found us.
Yes.
And late on a Sunday evening.
No doubt.
It's not that late.
It's not that late. I got one more topic that I have to do this, and this may end our friendship, if that's what this is a friendship, right? I mean, there's all different definitions of friendship.
Yeah, I'd say you're a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say you're a friend.
Absolutely.
I mean, most of my friends don't bug me on Sunday nights, but you're a good friend. I mean, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, you are talking. You are taking time. And by the way, I do appreciate it. I know you're jammed up schedule-wise this time of year, so I sincerely do appreciate you doing that. Bass Track.
Dude,
I want to talk to you about Bass Track. And what happened at the Classic. Now, most of the time, it doesn't come into play. It seems like to me, most of the time, the tournaments aren't that close where you can have all that going on.
Yeah.
With live coverage becoming where most of the eyeballs are. I mean, let's be real. I mean, we had 160,000 people at the Classic, but there was hundreds of thousands of people watching live every day.
Yeah, no, it's everything.
So that's the main pulse of the sport monetarily. That's what's going to grow the sport financially and continue to grow the Bassmasters is the live coverage. with that being a case and it being more of a televised sport, we got on Fox. That was freaking awesome that we were on network television live for that. That was amazing. With that being the case and it becoming more of a televised live sporting event like traditional sports are, dude, the scoreboard's got to be right. Like, I think it does. I think the scoreboard needs to be right. I know you probably disagree with me here.
Well, no, I totally disagree because number one, I don't think we should have a scoreboard. We shouldn't that's not how this sport is scored. That's if you're going to harp on a scoreboard, you're going to turn bass fishing into professional golf, where the celebration and the exchange, that moment, that special moment that we all just talked about, and like how you fell in love with it when you were a little kid. It was one person standing beside another person so we could watch one win and one lose. Mm-hmm. And that's what was so exciting. And that's why everybody was cheering for Jason Christie. So I think, myself personally, and not just as the Bassmaster MC, I think that we should be doing everything as a sport to protect that moment. Okay. And I do think that Bass Track, I don't think that there's any, the Bass Track, as we say always, is up to the anglers. Let me just tell you, any rumors that Bass controls any of that and all that crap?
No.
Trust me, they don't, because I'm forever begging them to not show them as much as they do, because every bit of it makes the stage show that much harder.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't understand.
So if your beef is that Christie's Bass Track was off, you need to take that up with Jason Christie.
Yeah.
Because
those guys do that, right? Like those guys do sandbag on the Bass Track typically.
What's that?
So a lot of those guys do sandbag on the Bass Track typically, right?
Well, yeah, but Jason Christie, you're talking about somebody who most likely lost a classic because of spectators. You know, he had hundreds of spectators on him. So the fact that he managed his Bass Track, I don't know exactly, I do know that they put in some fish late that weren't added. He did make 2 key calls, but they were obviously sandbagging all day long. So I don't know who your beef is with, because Bass says the whole way through it that it's unofficial.
Right.
It's a voluntary thing. During the elites, we actually pay these crooks $1,000 a week for the person who actually gets the closest to it. But if you're asking me how we make anglers tell the truth, I think that if we could figure that out, we'd have a lot of things figured out in the world. Anglers are never going to tell the truth. They're always going to manage it whatever way they want. You know what I mean? I don't know how Bass can change that.
Well, you would just have to weigh them.
But I also don't think we should.
Yeah. No, I assume that would be your take on it, and I understand. I do understand your side of it. It just from just a fan viewing on the live coverage, it's just, I don't know. I like the scoreboard aspect. I like that knowing exactly what size fish Kyle Welcher needs to catch to leapfrog Jason Christie or Stetson Blaylock at the time, whoever it was. I like knowing exactly, or feeling like I know exactly what he needs, and then when he catches it, like in this classic, the way it unfolded, I'm watching, and I personally was pulling for Stetson Blaylock. Stetson used to guide some on fork. I've got to meet him a few times. I like the guy a lot.
Yeah.
So me personally, just because I know the guy personally, yeah, Stetson's awesome. And Stetson, nobody deserved it more than Jason Christie, but daggum, Stetson deserves it too. He's been there a long time and been a really good fisherman for a long time. But so I'm watching, I'm pulling for him, and the Bass Track is saying he's in first by a little bit, and Christie and Welch are right behind him. And then as live coverage cuts off, in the last minute as he's heading to check-in, he catches what appears to be another 4-pounder or so. And I'm like, well, that's gonna give him 2 more pounds. He just won, dude. That's it. That's a done deal. He just won. But it wasn't a done deal. It was, and so it was. Maybe it was
but
a little.
It's never ever gonna be, because you don't see the finish line in
Right.
fishing. That's what makes MLS victory so awkward. I love, that's not an insult, but everybody over there's got to tell me that the winning moment is not the same.
Right.
The fact that you're okay, we're done now. Some of them are close, but even when it's close, it's you're done now, but hold on 2 minutes, and then we'll make sure that it all checks out. There's 1 or 2 options. You know what I mean? You weigh them on the water, and you do it that way. But here's what I love about bass, because it doesn't matter what you catch. You still got to get back. You need to check in. You know what I mean? All of those moments of excitement are still intact. You know what I mean? You don't have, it's not lines out. You need to make it back, and your weight is not official until it hits the official scale. So I think that if we spend our time searching how to get Bass Track perfect, I think in time we'll look back and we'll be like, damn, we screwed something up.
Maybe.
Because what we had was that magical moment. And I think it's been proven that if you have a live scoreboard, that magical moment isn't near as big. It just doesn't happen, because what you saw with Jason Christie doesn't happen if he doesn't have an hour and a half of wondering, did I have enough?
Do you
know what I mean? It does. You need to build through that to have that excitement in that moment.
You're right. Yeah,
So
if he would have known, if he
didn't win for you.
Yeah, if he knew on the water that he won, he would have been celebrating the entire drive to the arena. And then you're right. It wouldn't. I see what you're saying. It wouldn't be the same. Like his being overcome with emotion and hands to the knees and taking a breath for a minute because he's a little choked up. Like, that's not going to happen if he knows for sure that he won when he leaves the boat ramp and he drives to the arena. He's celebrating it, and it's not the same. I'm with you. I do understand what you're saying there. Well, I was going to ask you one other thing, but it really doesn't matter now.
Then the arena becomes like the clubhouse in golf, where you just walk in and there's a round of applause for you, and you smoke a pipe, have a shot of scotch, and we give you a giant check, and you leave. Like, that's one of the weird things about the sport of fishing, and this isn't against anything that anybody's doing at anywhere. You know, this is just an innate thing that happens in fishing. We always spend so much time pointing about what's wrong. Like, you know, it'd be so much better if this was that way and this was that way. It's pretty freaking good, man. We filmed the arena full of people to watch grown men that have shirts with matching shoes hold up fish and an idiot yell stuff while they do it. It's pretty incredible when you compare it to other things. So, I mean, I don't think one thing's right and one thing's wrong, but I don't think that Bass should change anything. That, like, the way they're doing it, if they should do anything, they should make it less likely, because you know what? We're not always going to have this year's Classic. It's not always going to be that tight. And it is a whole different feeling. And I think you would agree, just feeling that feeling the last number of days, it's a week ago today that all that crap happened. But you can still feel that excitement in the industry, can't you?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you feel it in yourself. It's not something you need to, and every one of us feels it. So that feeling inspires so much to grow in this sport that I think that we just need to be very careful that we don't one day say, oh, man, remember how cool it was before?
Right.
You know?
No, you're right. You're right.
That's...
I do think you're right. Here's what I would ask you, though, too, with that. So explain this to me then. How does it go when Patrick Walters wins by 10 pounds at Lake Fork? And at Lake Fork, we are weighing them in the boat, so we do know it's official. And
it's official. So you got to remove any story from Lake Fork.
Yeah. Well, all those big margin victory tournaments. But my point is, even at the Lake Fork event where it is official, we know for sure, and it's 30 pounds with Patrick and 10 pounds or whatever it was with Lee when he caught 42, you still go to the weigh-in, there's still a big crowd, and people are still super excited. Like, it's still the culmination celebration of it. Are you saying, like, if we take that out of the – if we take that away from the weigh-in where we don't know who wins, but in these tournaments where we clearly know who's won based on live coverage, it still feels like to me at those weigh-ins we still have that excitement, don't we?
We still have excitement, but it's excitement because people are making it excited. What happened with Jason Christie was so different. What we need, the real excitement that I love is uncontrolled excitement. The kind of excitement that happened in that arena was uncontrolled excitement. People jumped to their feet. Mike Iaconelli openly talked about spitting his beer out that exact second. Yeah. All of those things, nobody thought about them. They just did them. They just, you know what I mean? And I do think you get cheering and you get hoopla, and and people are. It's the Bassmaster Classic, and for people that have the addiction we all have, it's a special moment. You see people crying and all sorts of stuff. But I think you can't compare. Like, why did we start this interview when you said, "Was this the best classic ever?" You didn't say that about others.
Yeah.
Because you're feeling that because everything did happen right. Stetson took the lead, and then he got knocked out for the second place guy. It was like a storybook. You had two dudes going out on the final day that were tied, and it still ended up being those two dudes at the very end. So I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, it still is exciting, and you still cheer as much. But I've heard Lee Livesey say it to me himself. Like, that win in Texas was phenomenal, was incredible. But the win that he had at Chickamauga was so different because he thought he lost it. Like, he thought he pulled into a coronation at Fork. You know what I mean? Like, it was, let me go get my coronation. I'm about to become the king. But when you don't know, there's a specialness to that that I think makes our sport special. And it's not something that on paper that you can explain. Like, if you literally, when I'm saying these words, of people that think about how you felt this week, like whether you were a Christie fan or not, you felt inspired by what you saw. And that, to me, is what Bass is. It's people being inspired by what they saw, and later in life, they become part of that inspiration. You know what I mean? Jason Christie watched someone win the Classic and said, man, I wish I could do that one day. And then he did it, and that's why you saw him so emotional, because he did the thing that he always wanted to do, the one thing that had eluded him and been so close so many times. He finally conquered it, and that's the specialness to me. So, yes, if they win by 10 pounds, it's still exciting. I'm still going to jump, and I'm still going to do whatever. We're still going to put streamers off. But it's not the same feeling. I don't think you can change that feeling. That feeling is what we all chase, because that's the feeling that made us fall in love with the sport.
Yeah, and that's the deal, I think. So, listen, you got me. You sold me. You're right. I'm wrong, okay? It's like I'm married, you know? Listen, you're right. I'm wrong. I think the deal is I've only been lucky enough to be at a few of you guys' events. And obviously the ones at Lake Fork are different because they are official weights. And so we do know who wins every one of those. And it seems like every time we come to Lake Fork, somebody wins by 10 pounds or more, because it's Lake Fork, and that's like one bite here. And then the Hank Cherry Classic that I went to last year, I mean, we pretty much knew he won before he got, we kind of knew he won. I mean, Matt Airy made a push, but we pretty much knew Hank Cherry won that Classic going into weigh-in. I've never experienced in person the moment you're talking about. But the way you laid it out, I can totally see it unfolding that way, where, like, I was in my living room and my jaw was still dropped about Kyle Welcher taking over Stetson Blaylock. Next thing I know, Kyle Welcher's not winning. And I'm like, what just happened? And so I can only imagine being there in person and feeling that. It is. It's the walk-off home run moment at a baseball game in the World Series. It's, you know what I mean? It's the side. Yeah. So I get it now. Dave. You've educated us. And you've learned me.
Well, and I also think it's the, and again, this is nothing against MLS. Because I work for Bass, people will want to say that I'm not against anything that's going over there. But I also do believe that moment's what's going to drive more people back here, because it's the only time in the sport that it happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you win. And I don't care if there's 100 boats around you. You're not in an arena. You don't have that moment. You know what I mean? And that's what's so important about that moment, because it's the one time where Jason Christie, a regular dude who, is probably more comfortable in a tree stand than he ever is at a trade show or he ever is on a stage anywhere. But all of a sudden, it all comes together and it means something in that moment. And if we lose that moment, I'm out of a job. And really, that's all I care about.
Yeah, there it is. There's the real thing.
But I'm screwed without a job.
Yeah, that's now we've gotten to the meat of the conversation. No, No, listen, I love talking to you because I love this because you bring that inside perspective. You bring the perspective of the guy standing on the stage, and when you're on the stage, when you're in the center of the focal point, even though it's not about you in that moment, it's about Christy, but you're in the focal point of that moment. You can feel the energy from that crowd in those situations. I know you can. And so it's awesome to get to talk to you and get to hear it from your perspective. And I know you educated me on that a lot tonight, and it helped me understand what you were talking about. And I know there's a lot of people that are going to watch this that are going to, well, there's like 5 people that are going to watch this that are also going to now understand more of the specialness of that moment, which is so awesome. And it is awkward. Listen, we talked when MLF was here. I talked to you about tournament and all that. Like, I'm a fan of both. I'm not holding no. Listen, I call both out when I think they're wrong. I applaud both when I think they're right, and I love both deeply, and I watch every one of them that I can. And that's just the reality of it. And especially when they're at Fork, I'm going to watch whoever's there because that's my pond. The Alton Jones deal, dude, that trophy presentation is awkward, bro. That's awkward. Like, my man's in the back of Little Caney, wins the tournament, sheds a tear on live coverage, and then he's got to idle 30 minutes to get to an area where he can run out of Little Caney another 15 minutes. 45 minutes later, he pulls into the boat ramp, and his dad's there waiting on him. Mom's ready to go to dinner, and they're all taking pictures in the dark. Like, it's weird, man.
It is, but I mean, they're trying, like, you got to be realistic with what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I do give them respect for that because, I mean, they're trying to change the sport. They're saying that the game that we've played all these years is not the game they want to play. They want a scoreboard. They want periods. They want, and that's fine. But I mean, with all that change comes other changes, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about the world. I mean, if you want to chase that dream over there, chase it. If you want to chase the dream of bass, chase it. Like there's different people that in time will probably feel just as passionately about their stuff as they do bass. But they're not going to beat bass just doing exactly what bass does. And let's be realistic, their goal is the way they win is we lose. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah, and I don't. It doesn't need to be that way, and I don't think it should be that way.
No, it doesn't. But that's the way it's set up.
Yep.
I mean, why else would you have a tournament on top of the Classic and stuff like
Listen,
that?
I've called that out. I've called that out multiple times. Listen, I think they do a lot of things really correct over there. I think they do a lot of good things over there, and they do things right in a lot of ways. But you guys put your schedule out substantially before they did last year. This year's schedule, y'all was out earlier than theirs. Then they come out with a schedule after y'all, significantly after y'all, and so many events are on top of each other. You've got a Smith Lake regular tour event on top of the Bassmaster Classic, and this needs to stop. This is a small industry in the big scheme of things. Fishing is a smaller industry. It's growing, but it's a smaller industry when it comes to professional sports. One of the smallest ones, really. There's no reason for that. There's no reason to divide views at all. There's no reason that you should be making fans choose between watching live coverage of Smith Lake Bass Pro Tour and the Bassmaster Classic or any tournaments that you guys are doing. We shouldn't be making fans choose over between the two events. There's no reason to do that. There's only 9 of them a year if you count the championships, the Red Crest and the Classic. There's 9 a year. That's 18 weeks. Pretty sure there's 52 weeks in a year. Like, we can make this work, dog. Like, we can line this up. We don't have to do it this way.
You would think, but I mean, I also can't comment on that because I'm not, I'm busy. And when there's events on top of events, I'm busy with our event.
Yeah.
So I don't get a chance to look at their events. And I mean, maybe it's the furniture store approach. Maybe they all want to be beside each other. I don't know. But it seems to me like there's certain events. ICAST is another one. I mean, you don't schedule on top of ICAST. But that being said, hey, dude, IMC the Bassmaster Classic. Of course, I'm going to want it to be free and clear. So I'm kind of a biased person in that situation, But I mean, you probably shouldn't have talked about all this crap. See, this is why I don't do podcasts on Sunday nights. I mean,
The problem is I don't have much of a filter, and whatever my brain thinks, my mouth speaks, and then you never know where you're going to end up with me. I'm just going to tell you.
I hear you. I hear you.
Honestly.
No, I mean they're all good dudes.
Yeah.
Like I think what's happening over there is great for them, and if it works for them, that's cool. And what's happening at Bass is working for me and working for many others, and
Absolutely.
we're all very lucky as spectators to have. In the time that I've worked with Bass, which is 12 years now, it's amazing that we've gone from literally having to, having the live, there was no live, you know what I mean? You had to wait several weeks to get tournament coverage, and now you can watch multiple circuits live. It's amazing. It really is amazing.
Yeah.
So we're lucky in that way.
We're on network television.
A lot of it out there.
We're on national network television, for crying out loud, dude. That was really, really cool, man. And I think that's a big milestone for the sport to have the Bassmaster Classic air on a network television network, just like a football game would or a baseball game would.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Really big deal.
Yeah, it was very cool.
All right, man.
Very cool.
I've kept you all night, Dave. I'm not going to keep you anymore. Get your butt to Texas in May, and then we'll have a good time, right? One more quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question here. Which is more likely? At which lake are we more likely to see the all-time record fall? Now, granted, the odds of us seeing the all-time record fall of 130 pounds over 4 days, probably not great. But if you had to place your bet on one or the other, is it Santee Cooper this week?
OHIV.
Or is it Fork in May? Y'all didn't schedule OHIV.
Yeah, you imagine? Oh,
Dude,
my God.
Dude. If y'all should have a Bassmaster Elite Series event on OHIV in January, and there should be a rule that you're only allowed to fish with live scope.
Yeah, you imagine?
It would be insane.
Incredible. Just a big fish derby would be awesome to
Dude.
watch there. I'm going to have to listen, I'm an educated broadcaster, and I realize the majority of your viewers are from the Lake Fork area, so
Correct.
I'm going to go Lake Fork for sure.
There we go. There we go.
Isn't that wise, right? Smart.
I have seen several times tonight where, like, I never thought you were dumb or anything, but you're a really smart guy, Dave.
No. I mean, if I was smart, I wouldn't be doing this on a Sunday
Not on
night.
Sunday night, exactly. I knew that was coming.
I'll be honest. I mean, you wanted to do it before the Classic, and I was like, yeah, let's do it after the Classic. It'll be so much better. And then I was like, oh, damn, I got to do it.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy talking to you.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really do.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of other people I don't like talking. No, I like talking to you.
Yeah. Dude, I appreciate it.
I gotta go now. You're getting me in trouble.
Go, man. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate the time.
See you guys.
All right, later, Dave. Man, your phone makes all kinds of noises. Back to my unpaid phone bill. There was Dave Mercer, folks.
We gonna talk about that?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you what happened. I changed bank accounts. This is real talk.
It's happened with the business loan before.
I changed bank accounts mid last week, or week before that. In the last couple weeks, I changed bank accounts, and I guarantee you what happened was, what day is it? Yeah, it's right about that time for that little automatic pay deal to come out, and they tried to pull that bank out, and it wasn't there. So now I'm gonna have to go online and fix it. But I was hoping it would just roll over because I kept the debit card number the same. Listen. Don't say I don't share all the inside stuff about my life. You guys just saw my unpaid phone bill unfold live on TV. It was working last night.
Unpaid.
I also don't hardly. I was on the phone talking 10 minutes before this with Cody Mays. Remember?
Yeah. Awkward.
Maybe it was. I just can't call Canada or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's weird. See if your phone rings right now. It's not my phone. My phone bill's paid, guys. I'm calling them right now.
Billy Lawson.
So, okay. Well, guess my phone bill is paid. Anyways.
I wonder what Billy wanted. He just called
I don't know. Chris, I forgot you were even here.
Yeah, me too.
Chris is probably wondering why he drove to my house tonight at this point.
No, it was the best $20 in fuel I ever spent.
These days, good grief.
Liberal tears.
I'm going to start having giving you a fuel stipend to come do these podcasts.
Golly. No, I enjoy them.
Some good stuff with Dave, always.
Yes.
Dave never disappoints.
You know, I still disagree about the Bass Track deal. I know you're sold on it. I still disagree.
I understand the moment. I get the moment.
I get the moment, but if it wasn't...
But what's more important for the sport, the moment or the live coverage?
The live coverage.
And what's going to make the live coverage better?
Correct.
Accurate Bass Track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two sides. I get...
Yeah.
My deal is,
see.
why have it if you're not going to be...
Yeah. I see his argument is let's just get rid of it altogether.
Which is fine.
That's what he wants.
If
he
you
wants
want-
to go back the way it was.
Right. No,
I just... See, I don't like that either. I don't know
to
what...
hold eyeballs, you got to have it, I feel like.
I don't know what the right answer is, if I'm being honest with you.
No, I don't either.
I don't really know. But I know the answer is this. Let's either get it right or let's not do it. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
Let's either not do it or let's get it right. Now, I don't know.
Or just go with the old way, yesterday's previous weights. And that's who we're following
Yeah.
around. We're following around the top 10.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know what the right answer is. I'll be honest with you. This one, I really don't know what the right answer
Or
is.
you can do it where, maybe the cameraman in the camera boats that are for that day, the top 10 we'll call it, asks them when they're on the way to weigh-in, what do you think you got today? Man, I got about X.
I don't see that's and then there's no point to that, because when you need to know is throughout the day when you're watching other guys catch fish that are chasing them down. That's when you need to know what they have. Not at the end of the day, we can just wait for the weigh-in.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I mean?
like you said, there's no real right answer.
I don't know what the right answer is right now. But I do know this. They've got to do whatever's going to make live coverage better. If it'll grow views and grow exposure on live coverage and make it more watchable to people that don't understand the sport and things like that, well, you might need to consider that. Here's the reality. They don't have to change anything right now
No.
because they're doing really well.
Yeah.
The numbers are really well. The sport is growing. The brand is growing. So they don't have to do anything at the moment.
Correct.
So it's going to stay like it is. I don't think they'll ever do away with Bass Track at this point. I don't think you can do that.
I don't think the live coverage just...
It'll be interesting to see if it ever changes or how it changes. It's also such a unique situation that we just got into where we had 3 guys separated by less than a pound.
Right. You and I we've never even hinted at the conversation about Bass Track.
Until this. So the reality is we're going to go to Santee Cooper and somebody's going to catch an 8-pounder at the end and we're going to know he won by 5 pounds and it's not going to matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And next year at the Classic, somebody's going to win by 2 or 3 or 4 pounds and it's not going to be an issue.
And I have noticed in the past,
That's what bothered me about this one was how far off it was.
right. And I've noticed
Not that
in
it
the
was
past
off.
that they-
Not that it was wrong. If we would have known that all 3 of those guys were within a pound and it would have unfolded completely opposite
Right.
of what it did. Like if they had Stetson in the lead and Kyle Welcher and Jason Christie, but they're all within a pound of each other and then it finishes like it does,
Yeah, cool.
nothing to say. That's the best moment I've ever seen on stage, right? But it made it look like Stetson had a 2.5, 3 pound lead.
Yeah.
And when it made it look like Stetson had a 2.5, 3 pound lead and then he got third, I was like, this is a problem, dude.
Right.
That's what bothered me in that one.
And I've seen it in
That
the
just
past.
totally takes away the validity. The next time I'm watching live, now we go to the next tournament, if it's within 2 or 3 pounds and I'm watching live coverage, I'm going to be like, I still don't know what's happening.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it takes a little bit away from the live coverage. It's making me look at it and go, I still don't know what's happening.
I've seen people before pull up and it be a couple ounces off. And I've thought in my head before, man, wouldn't that be something if, it was inaccurate for whoever was in second
Yeah.
or something like that. And it, you look like you got a clear cut leader. And literally, I've thought about this situation happening.
Yeah.
Literally. But
Well,
it's
that-
never been,
That was the deal, is how it was like a 2.5 to 3 pound change.
If it would have been 6
4
ounces
pound
or less,
change.
like you said, like a pound.
Even just within a pound.
Yeah.
If they're all within a pound of each other and that flip flops,
Cool.
That's actually fun.
Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, because then I turn the coverage off and I'm drooling for the weigh-in.
That's right.
Because I know they're so close.
Right.
But with me thinking Stetson's winning by 2.5, 3 pounds, I was anxious for the weigh-in because it's a Bassmaster Classic and all that. And then when it flipped around, I'm like, well, they just lied to me all day.
There's a way to
And
appease
nobody
both
likes feeling
sides.
like they got lied to.
There's a way to appease both sides. I just don't know what that is. There is.
Yeah. And the problem is if you get it exact where you're actually like weighing them in the boat.
Yeah. Then you're the same format as the
But
others.
but what you do is you weigh them on handheld scales and it's not official till they come weigh in.
Right.
Because that could, there's ounces of difference in that.
Yeah, those scales are different.
Yeah, the handheld scales are going to be ounces different than the official scales at times. Then we'll be mad at them because they don't buy good scales.
Yeah.
Then we'll be griping about that. Dave was like, why is everybody trying to change something about fishing? Dave, if you're still watching or if you watch this later, don't you realize in every sport that people complain about everything about the sport?
Yeah. Yeah. That's just what
In
we're
every
doing.
sport.
That's what we're doing.
It's not unique to fishing. They do it. There's an entire sports network called ESPN that
That's
basically
right.
is people telling you what's wrong with sports.
Oh, I mean, there's shows dedicated strictly to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Skip and Shannon.
And all day on 2 or 3 different radio stations in every major city, there's guys talking 24/7 about what's wrong with sports.
I want to be the Skip Bayless of bass fishing.
Does that make? Wait a minute. Am I Shannon Sharp?
Not necessarily.
Because I don't know if I can do that. I wish I had a good Shannon Sharp impersonation right now.
You're the same size as Shannon Sharp, pretty much. You're a big dude.
Well, yeah, I'm the same size, but I'm not the same shape.
Right. Fair.
I am the same size as
You
Shannon
are,
Sharp.
yes.
I am the exact.
Yeah.
I actually am the exact same size as Shannon Sharp.
That's
like
right.
shoulder width, height,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah.
I'm just not the same shape.
Right. And I mean,
He has more edges, and I'm more circular.
I look like Skip Bayless sitting next to you. So there's that.
The young Skip Bayless of bass fishing, ladies and gentlemen. The new young Skip. We didn't give Mercer a nickname tonight.
I got one.
What is it?
I'm going to say it off air.
I can't wait to text this to Dave Mercer.
Yes.
I can't wait to text this to Dave Mercer.
Yeah.
I think he may have my number blocked trying to avoid this deal tonight.
Maybe you heard some
I'm-
foreshadowing.
That might be what happened. I think Mercer blocked my number trying to avoid this podcast tonight.
Well, guess what? Got him.
Yeah. You didn't know we had a backup to the backup, did you, dog?
And I had your number saved.
All right, man. Thank you guys so much for watching, as you always do. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We had a hell of a time talking to Dave. Dave Mercer, thank you very much. Be sure, go click those links in the description after this is posted. Go follow my boy Dave, man. Great content. In fact, he just did an interview with Jason Christie's camera guy on Wednesday. Y'all need to go listen to that.
Yep.
That deal was amazing interview he did with him. Dave's a much better interviewer than I am, for sure. For sure, no doubt. Chris, do that thing you do. That's it.
the thing you do.
That's just the thing you do.
That's the mic drop.
America!